one of the issues that I have with the world of optimization is that the risk is you create this inherent frailty in your head, which is that I'm going to optimize all these things. That's my sleep, my diet, my exercise program. What happens when you can't do that? What happens when you can't sleep as well as you want to? What happens when you can't eat the way you want to? What happens when you can't do the workout that you want to? When you've created this idea in your head that all of these things are required for optimal function, then when those things don't happen, you won't be able to function optimally because like you're all in your head just being like, well, I didn't get the thing that I needed to do in order to perform well. That's not what we want. We want to create an environment where we can perform regardless of what happens. And we do that by having like consistency in these areas, but like you can't always guarantee you're going to sleep well. And like you're still going to have to show up the next day. I think investing in all those different processes and learning how to do that, those are the guys who like consistently come back and do well year after year after year after year. And so you're not focused on the outcome, you're focused on the process. And right, if you focus on the process well enough, the outcome kind of takes care of itself, as long as you're not running against Usain Bolt. And so then the other part of that, how that translates to the rest of us, is that there are some really interesting studies that look at this idea of enoughness. There was one or two studies that used sort of like a similar part of this data set, where they took people and they asked them, how much exercise do you think you do compared to people like you? And the answer was, about the same, less, or more, right? And then they looked at cognitive function in one study, and they looked at mortality risk, like how likely this person is to die, in another study. And what they found was that people who thought that they did less compared to other people like them had lower cognitive function and a higher disease risk after adjusting for how much activity they actually did, because they were wearing activity monitors, like, step counters and stuff. And they adjusted for a whole bunch of stuff, socioeconomic status, health, disease risk, all this kind of, they adjusted for a whole bunch of things. So like the way I interpret this is that if you're constantly thinking, I'm not doing enough, right? Other people like me do more exercise. I'm not doing enough. Like, even if actually you're doing a lot of exercise, you have higher disease risks because of this thought process of not doing enough.